Hello, folks. Welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I'm a little bit behind because I just got off the Cliff Schechter show. I had a great time on that show. I had a great time on the show, folks. I'm going to clean some of it up, and later on, I'm going to put it on so you can see what we spoke about. Different vibe on the show. But you know what? I enjoyed every minute of the show. Very smart people. I don't know if you guys remember CNN and MSNBC's David Schuster. That's who was who we did it with. So I think it, all in all, you'd have a good thing when I fixed it up, clean it up, and all of that good stuff. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I trust everybody's doing just fine. Let's see what we got here. Let me open my chat. We have in the house AVQ Senior Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York. Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas. We also have Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. And the one and only Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas. Eric, our resident MAGA. I love Eric. Someday Eric is going to change. Someday, Eric is going to look out for all of America instead of just some in America. Welcome, my brother Eric. We also have Paul Fleming. Oh, I called you out already, Paul, right? Yeah, I did call you out already. Now going to our Substack feed. We know that we get the first few dozen missing, but in the house, let me get to the top. Susan Kovacs, welcome aboard. Dana Harmon, Angie Decadence, Judy, Lynette, Angela Ravin Anderson, Greg Palace. How you doing, my brother? Love to see you here. We have Lynette. Let's see. Lynette says, good afternoon. I told Marlon Weems I had to go from this life to here, from one life to the next, from one life to the. You know what? That's great. Thank you for being here. I am honored that you decided to come here as well. Barbara Arnwine, welcome aboard. Kat March KJ, Dr. Mary M. Marshall, Lynette again. Thank you all for being here. Teresa Birch, thank you for being here. Look, we can't do this stuff without you. Yvette Avery Herod on the other chat from Atlanta, Georgia. We are represented on every coast in the middle of the country, in the southern parts of the country. We're all here. And I always shout out Marlon Weems. I learned a lot from Brother Weems all of the times. You know, he is the financial guru on this show. Bruce Pollard says, drifted in today, confusing to watch the Miley's Eggs Roll House. Bruce, why you always tell me something that I don't know what the hell that you're talking about? What am I missing there? But I know if you're doing it, there's something great about it. Miley's Egg Roll House. Actually, I could use an egg sandwich right now. I love eggs. I love eggs. Remember that thing? Anyway. Welcome aboard, my peeps. Love you all. Love you all. Anyhow, what else have we got to go? Look, today's TikTok day. I'll be honest with you. I had some videos to process. I couldn't get them processed because there's a couple of articles I wanted to start writing, including the article covering our Pantex, the Panama Texas Connection Foundation. That's a group led by my buddy, Roberto Lewis. I wanted to start working on that article. So I couldn't get all the videos that I wanted to get done. So I decided, I keep a tab of a whole lot of TikToks that I watch, and I want to play some of them and give them some context. But before I do that, I want to know if there's anybody who wants to call me and tell me what they think about the developments with the Epstein files. This is pathetic, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. If anybody can call me before I play my first TikTok video, what do you really think about the Epstein files, the Epstein emails? Where are we going from here? I want to know. Folks, help me out here. Give me a call. Wendy Boussier, welcome aboard. I know it's absolutely pathetic. I want some calls. Come on, folks. Give me a call. I want to hear somebody tell me, where do you think this is going? I want some interaction, not only on the chats, which I love you, chat, but I'd love somebody to call. Got a lot of people watching. Somebody call. Give me a call, or else I'm going to have to go with my tail between my legs and just go to the first video. Is that what you want? Is that what you really want me to go through? Number is 281. Let me put it here. Call in phone is 281-823-7747. Una vez más lo voy a repetir. 281-823-7747. I know a lot of people on these platforms, they're in for chatting and mostly chatting, not in for calling. But I'm going to try to pull somebody in. I'm going to try to pull somebody in. Maybe I should assign somebody to call. Hey, Bruce Pollard, since I know you and I know I wouldn't offend you to say, Bruce, call me if you have your phone in your hands. Of course, that's if you have your phone in your hands. Bruce is my buddy from a long time ago. He used to be my neighbor. We went to Netroots together a few times, etc., etc., etc. All right, Le Denive, welcome aboard. Someone please save Egberto. You see, Le Denive is saying, save me, call me. Lisa Blair says, hello, everyone. Lisa is from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see who else is here. LBW, La Profesora is here. Thank you for being here, LBW. I'm going to wait 30 seconds, and then I'm going to simply call it a big Egberto's fail and go to the first TikTok. Is that what you want? A big Egberto fail. Okay, I guess I failed. I have failed. I used to do recitations, right? In both Spanish and English, I used to compete in school. And because our school were bilingual, I did both. I remember my first Spanish poem had this phrase that I used to love. Señor, ya yo no quiero nada. Nada, ni el amor. Porque el amor es simple motivo de dolor. Dame tan solo paz. Dame tan solo el olvido. Dame la gracia última de quedarme dormido por siempre bajo tierra, en un lugar perdido, donde no oiga palabra, ni me turba ruido. I held up, I said a poem, and my brother Bruce Pollard called. What's up, Bruce?
Not much.
What's up? Talk to me, brother. Talk to me. Where are we at? Tell me what you think about what's going on.
So there's two things.
Oh, turn down the volume, brother.
Yeah, I got to do that.
Yeah, I can hear it kind of loudly and hearing myself. There we go. Talk to me.
That better?
Yeah.
So the first thing I think is that the Epstein business is something that needs to be just ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's just a distraction to what really needs to be done. There's still lots of people suffering. And I always thought the thing that made America great was that we helped other people. I mean, that's the natural thing when you talk about people and you talk to other people, they say, well, the thing that happened was they didn't ask me whether I was a Republican or a Democrat. They just helped me out.
Did you hear my show this morning?
I did.
Okay, that was Bruce who said that. Yes, go ahead. Please continue. Yeah. That was your brother, Bruce, from another mother.
Right. Yep. But the key is this should actually happen. I always thought we did that worldwide, not just when you bump into something, but when you meet anybody who needs help, if you can help them, you do. And there are a lot of people that need help. And when you look at the people who we could make their life better just by giving them the drugs that they need to keep them from getting a communicable disease, And we stopped doing that because it was too expensive for somebody.
For who?
For the Doge people.
That was peanuts that we were sending. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah. I mean, all that does for the Doge people is it indicates to me is that they're not real Americans. Because a real American would help somebody.
Okay. Let me just say this now. I differ a bit on, you remember when we started talking about Epstein, I told everybody exactly what you said, right? Distraction,
Yep.
Leave it on the backside. And I wholeheartedly stick to that. But let me just say one thing where I think it's different. When those people who were aggrieved by men that are so far anonymous, when these women came out and say how these people did them, at that point, I think, and I'm not talking about you now, because I am doing a radio show talking to quite a few people. You know, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I would be irresponsible, I think now, if I were to say, we have 100 women out there that are coming out that are saying, we want these things released. We want these people to be held accountable. I think in this case, we have to walk and chew gum at the same time, meaning we can't distract from what people need right now, as you stated, about helping people, all of us being all of this. But I think it's going to be time for those people who perpetrated that harm onto these women, including one who has committed suicide because of what she's gone through. I think.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Bruce.
I agree with you entirely, but
Okay.
Now you have to ask yourself, who were the perpetrators in this?
I don't know.
Were they the people who, it's so easy to get connected up with a pusher who, no matter who you are, if you get connected up with a pusher, you're stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, I think what human traffickers do is their product is the people that they're trafficking, right?
Right.
And certainly those people are victims. But I think that the people that are buying into that traffic are victims. And some people in our government that are getting a lot of heat from this, I think, are weak with respect to some things, and the opportunity to have a relationship with another person, a physical relationship with another person, without having to have the meaning that goes with it that makes the physical relationship
whole. Yeah.
Whole. I think that those people are suffering. And quite frankly, it's likely that the one that is getting the most heat from this is weak and has trouble making the relationships. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't be calling people names and wouldn't be tricking people into attacking the Capitol and starving people.
Now, you agree with me that he has to pay the price for that in the long run. Do you agree?
Well, I mean, this is one of those things like if you loaned your car to somebody in some states and that person went out with the car and killed somebody drunk driving, you'd be as guilty as them.
Yes. Now, I hear you. Now, let me just say that, and I want to have this for the audience to hear, because I want to make sure that they don't get the wrong connotation from what you're saying. I know you, they don't. You are not trying to justify that because these men have pain in their lives, it gives them carte blanche to be able, or it excuses them to do what they've done to these women. And that's one of the reasons why I say they must pay the price for having done what they've done. I got another call that's coming into. I'm coming to you, caller. All right, we got both callers on. Ogden, hold on a while. Let's finish with Bruce. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that for the audience, because sometimes.
Yeah, and it's true. I just think that they're taking it. They're users, and they're taking advantage of everyone. I mean, the trafficked people are certainly ones, but they're not the only exception. I mean, the fact that we allow this person to be, to have so much power is just wrong. And,
right. Okay. Let me tell you something coming from LBW, and Ogden, I'm coming to you in a minute. LBW said, is the caller suggesting if you're weak that you can't say no to raping underage girls? You don't deserve to pay for your crimes. That's LBW, knowing that you are in the chat and knowing that you take things to the nth degree, you understand how to break things down. That's the reason why I made the clarification, because the suggestion isn't, there is not a justification for any man raping an underage girl or raping anybody, but specifically an underage girl. I think some of the tenets that Bruce is coming from lies on this. MAGA does a whole lot of wrong. I still go to MAGA and try to understand the genesis of the wrong that they were doing. But Bruce, can I jump to Ogden, since I don't want to keep him holding too long?
Yeah, go ahead. So just the day will come when you want to talk AI, and I'm ready to do that too. But that's another day.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Ogden,
yep. Take care, everybody. Peace and love.
Ogden, you're on.
Huh? Me?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, okay. I wanted to talk about how I feel I grew up during the Obama presidency. That's the only president I really have like a framework of. Mm-hmm. And I think that when Trump came on the scene, it's really done a lot of damage to like my generation of people who only have this as like a framework.
So you're a millennial, right?
Because like I would be Gen Z.
Gen Z, got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, my friends aren't like, I do know people at like college and stuff who have some like, it's quite extremist stuff that I think has now like entered the well of like acceptability. And I just don't know how we move forward dealing with that.
Explain to me, what do you mean by what has entered the well, the extremism that has entered the well?
It's a lot of it is people who are, blatantly, it's a lot of racism. That's the one thing, but they wouldn't describe it as that. And a lot of it's kind of like in a jokey, ironic way, but yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this way, because, one of the things I have one of my nephews who is married. He's black. He's married to a white girl. And she told me one time, she came into the house one time and she said that she was concerned. They drove from California to Texas, and in some little quirky town, she was oblivious to what she was aware of. And that was some guys looking at him in the kindest way. And these weren't older guys or anything like that, right? And when he came here, and she got me in a corner and she says, I think you need to talk to Brandon, because he just doesn't he just doesn't. I don't know. I shouldn't have used the name. He just doesn't get it or something like that. She said, and then said that I can see it, I can feel it, or something like that. She told me, and when I spoke to him, I remember the phrase that he used to me. He said, "Tío," which is uncle in Spanish. He said, "Tío, all of these racists are going to be dead. Your age and older, they'll be dead, and all of this is going to go away." And I wanted to, I believe that myself, right? I believe that what I saw from younger people, that's where we were going. But then we got, what's the name of the guy that just got killed, that I think is responsible for reintroducing a whole lot of hate into white kids around the world, around the country, Charlie Kirk. But tell me, am I on the right track in thinking that, well, where we were having a reversal, it's coming back again? Is that what you're telling me?
I think you might be onto something, but that's not. I could be wrong here, but that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Tell me what you're
more
thinking.
So that instead of it kind of just being like, oh, this one event caused like this group of people to turn to extreme beliefs. I think that with a president like ours currently, young people can't turn to the leader of our nation for good morals.
Right.
I know this sounds maybe cringy, but there's no, and that affects all groups of people. Like with poor kids like me, like you don't, you kind of have to get lucky to have someone in your life who can set you right. And I just think in our current day America, there's just so many obstacles and paths to I don't know, turn to vice or stuff like that. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Look, let me tell you, the reason I'm listening and listening and listening is your generation right now is the most important thing we have to work with right now. Okay? Because if we lose you, we lose the ball game, we lose the country. That's the reality. My generation has likely been one of the most selfish generations, bar none. And a lot of what I do, I am trying to make up for some of what we've done. No, we have. If you look at our tax policies, if you look at our social policies, all these things we allowed Reagan to make us believe that it was going to make our lives. And Reagan is before your time, but this is where it all cauterized. And this is why we don't have good schooling for our kids anymore. This is why all these things came about. And when I hear you don't know the pain that I feel that my God, these dumbasses didn't realize what they were doing to your damn generation. And it's not only racially, as you pointed out, it's a lot of the vice. We have people talk about the fentanyl crisis. If the people weren't depressed and the people had other things to do, there wouldn't be a fentanyl crisis. So what do? We blow boats up instead of trying to solve the problem at home. Do you agree with that, or tell me if I'm off?
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So, I mean, let me tell you what I know. That you know who Maxwell Frost is, right? I'm looking at a lot of Gen
from
Z.
Florida.
Yeah, Maxwell Frost from Florida. I'm looking at even Alexander. Well, Alexander, I think, would be considered a millennial. But there's a couple of young Congress people from Pennsylvania and these other states. Let me tell you, I am waiting to just work for these guys. I don't mean specifically working for them, but working on their behalf with what they know is needed to get your generation to engage and sort of cut out the cancer that, my generation and a part of the previous have thrown into you guys. right?
I was thinking, I've been thinking recently too, about like trying to think big and like creatively about how to organize like people from my generation to take back like what I think's lost, and maybe something we haven't really known yet, but something aspirational.
Let me tell you something.
I've been thinking
when as you talk to your peers, let them know that there's this old guy that is ready to serve, because that is what we need. So I'm glad to see that. I am glad to see. Let me just say point blank. I am glad to see that I got a Gen Z caller telling me these things, right? Because we need the fire. We need the fire lit from you guys. Really.
Well, I'm glad we have people like you talking out there, like giving some decency.
Well, look, thanks, my friend. Let me just.
But you know.
Yeah, no, I got you. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
Oh, no.
Well, look, I appreciate your call, and let me just tell you, it is touching to have somebody in that generation actually come out and make the points. You have a good one, okay?
You too. Thank you for talking to me.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Take you too now. Man, that I feel
all parties have disconnected the line.
I felt so good about that call, and also a pain. I don't know if some of you that are a bit older than Gen Zs feel that pain that I'm feeling from the call, and it is almost like there's so much work that we did already that we have to do again. Did any of you get that feeling that there's so much work that we've done already? It was working. And then we have to do it again. That is something that really gets me, right? That really gets me. Anyway, let's go to my first TikTok. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. I want to get to my first TikTok, and I'm going to put it on the screen if I can remember how to get there, and then we'll go with it. Let's hope I don't have to re-log in with all that magical stuff again. Okay, be quiet. But this one here got to me, and you guys can para ver donde diablo está. No, that should be view my profile, my favorites, and here it. I want you to listen to this lady here, because she really kind of pointed out something that got to me. Let's see real quick. I'm going to get it on the screen now. All right, screen, come on. Don't fail me.
So I'm actually surprised at how surprised people are about the woman who called, churches, mosques, and Buddhist temples to ask for baby formula with a screaming, crying baby in the background. Just asking for baby formula because the baby is hungry and she had no way to feed this baby. Buddhist temples, 100% said yes. Mosques, 100% said yes. And as for the churches showed how little they care for struggling families, how little they care for struggling mothers who are just trying to feed their baby. And that maybe they would care, but you would have to be a member of their church for them to care. However, predominantly black churches did come through. The predominantly black churches showed up for this baby and for this mother. And if it wasn't for them, nearly 0 churches would have said yes to helping this mother with her screaming child. So I'm actually...
Now, if you get a chance to actually look at the video, this woman called church after church after church after mosque after mosque after Buddhist temple after Buddhist temple. And what was so funny was the call to the mosque. The guy said, do you need, when she called in, he said, do you need us to deliver it? And she said, I can come and pick it up. He said, okay. Then she said, I just want you to know that I'm not Muslim. And then he said, oh, that doesn't matter. So here we had the Christian church saying, we'll help you if you're a member of our church. Most of them would not help you at all. And again, she called 40 churches. Well, up until the video that I saw, she had already called 40 churches. And I find, I don't find it shocking, but I saw a lot of corresponding videos that point out, man, in America, we have been lying to ourselves so badly. When we talk about how great things are and what we do, when we talk about who is the aggressor, when we talk about who is violent, when we talk about all these issues, it always seemed to be something looking back into your face. Even when we look at MAGA, do you remember when MAGA had this stuff about QAnon and the pizza, the pedophiles and the pizza shop and all of that? Well, it turns out that all of that may have been true. It was Epstein. And it was the people you would least expect. It was, again, projection. LBW says there will always be people raising up more backwards people. Hopefully, when we build a more humanist society, love you for that, we can show them that we want the best for everyone, and that can open their eyes and hearts. You know, LBW, that is why I try not to let MAGA offend me when they say certain things. That's the reason I try to continue with our engagement. You know, I was on Cliff Schechter earlier today, and we kind of touched on that as well. That is why we have to keep the entire thing open, right? So it is a shame that was the case. I have another one that I want to show you. I'm trying to remember which one it was that, was it the MAGA meltdown? Let me see if this was the one. I think this is the one. Let me check to see if it's a MAGA meltdown. Whatever the case is, I'm going to play this one.
Welcome back from your 8 weeks of taxpayer-funded vacation. It's good to see you, and I hope
I'm going to interrupt you.
Republicans.
Interrupt you, please. I am so tired.
That's not the one. Bear with me a second. I need to get to the right place. All right. I think that's it now. Let's do it again.
Welcome back from your 8 weeks of taxpayer-funded vacation. It's good to see you, and I hope
I'm going to interrupt you.
Republicans.
I'm going to interrupt you, please. I am sick and tired of hearing you all say we had an 8-week vacation.
That's exactly what happened.
I worked every day. I don't know about you. I don't want to hear another soul
we all
say
work
that.
Every single day, and that's exactly what happened with Speaker Johnson.
You're recognized.
I hope that you all enjoyed yourselves while American families looked at their letters from their health insurance companies, terrified that their insurance premiums were going to double or triple while the House was out of session for 53 days. That is unacceptable, Madam Chair. Now, we are back here to vote on a terrible partisan bill that will deepen a healthcare crisis that you did create. By first stripping away Medicaid from 15 million people. That is a fact. I'm sorry that you deny that fact, but that is a fact of the matter in the bill. And by refusing now to extend the Affordable Care Act, healthcare premium subsidies that keep coverage affordable for American families. And you also did all of this while engineering the most unprecedented transfer of wealth from the working class and poor Americans to the wealthiest people in this country. That is another fact. The Republican shutdown lasted 41 days. It is the longest shutdown in American history. 41 days of unpaid federal workers and families losing access to food assistance. 41 days of families skipping meals and seniors delaying care because Donald Trump chose to use hunger and healthcare as leverage. The callousness and corruption is astounding. Donald Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson, throughout this entire time, did absolutely nothing. They did not lift a finger to try to negotiate a real solution on any of this. What was Donald Trump doing during this time? I know that he announced plans for his $350 million ballroom funded by billionaires and corporations. I know that he was traveling around the world to Asia. He hosted a huge Great Gatsby party. I don't know if anyone here was invited. The night before, 42 million Americans lost access to SNAP assistance. He is acting like a king while millions of people in this country are suffering. That is unacceptable. And Speaker Mike Johnson, throughout this time, he has not just enabled this corruption, he has actively participated in it. That's why I staked outside of his office last week, to be absolutely clear about what's been happening. Mike Johnson is starving Americans and gutting healthcare to cover up the Epstein files. And I want to explain exactly why and how he's doing so, because the public deserves to understand it very clearly. Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva, who is from my state of Arizona, would be and will be the 218th signature on the discharge petition. 218 is the number needed to force a vote on the floor, whether the speaker wants one or not. And when Adelita is seated tomorrow, finally, after 49 days since she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, Speaker Johnson's going to lose control. Because then every single member of Congress on the Republican side and our side will have to go on the record and answer one very simple question. Do you want to support and protect the release of the Epstein files, or do you want to protect the names of the men who were involved in the crimes? That's the vote that Speaker Johnson has been running from. There's been plenty of reporting that the White House and Speaker Johnson have been actively working throughout this entire period to threaten the 4 Republican members of Congress who are on the discharge petition, to get one of them to come off of that discharge petition, because that is their number one priority. That's what's been happening. It is a cover-up, and Speaker Johnson must and should be investigated. All right, welcome.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. I mean, it's amazing, right? Why don't we hit these people up more often, just like this young lady did? Now, you see why I'm glad for a lot of the younger politicians? Because they are fearless. They don't believe in the false, in the false. What is the word that I want to use? In the old days, they had this certain amount of quorum. They don't believe in that anymore. These guys have broken that long time ago. And they've decided, nope, if you swing, we will swing harder. Hey, guys, for those of you that are on Facebook, I'm not sure what is happening, but you may, yesterday, Facebook conked out altogether, not anything of our fault. It seems like Facebook themselves were having problems. And I decided to jump over to the Facebook page, and it looked like yesterday they're having problems. Either that, or they decided to some word they heard and AI shut us down, but I didn't get any emails telling me that. So I don't think so. But YouTube, the YouTube channel is still up, and the Substack channel is still up. Meta is suppressing, I am sure. I think you're absolutely right, LBW. So, folks, Twitch is good, Substack is good, and YouTube is good. So go check out YouTube or just go to Substack. Let me put the Substack in there. https egberto.substack.com. There we go. So I put where you can actually go. Reverend Carlton, you are late to the party, my Canadian brother. LBW says, I encourage everyone to join Substack for news anyways. Yeah, let me jump on top of what LBW just said, because we kind of alluded to this on Cliff Schecter's show today. I think if everybody should, first of all, you can subscribe to my newsletter without paying. Okay, again, you can just subscribe. You can just subscribe to the newsletter. I send out all the newsletter free, etc., etc., etc. Of course, I'd love for those who can afford to pay to go ahead and get a paid version. But here's what I'm saying. You notice what LVW said. They're probably throttling or simply cutting our Facebook when certain things occur, right? The only way we are going to have direct communication with you is for you to give your email to trusted sources. And I'm working very hard to earn you as one who considers politics done right and Egberto off the record trusted resources. I have no problem earning that from you. And in return, I'm saying subscribe, because as things get bad or worse, all these networks, think about this. Zuckerberg controls WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. So right then, that's a big part of the market that they have there. Going further, you have who is it that controls YouTube and the other YouTube network? So here's the thing. We have to go back to the muckracker days where we are talking to you directly, one to many, many to many. So please go ahead and go to politicsandright.com/Egberto or rather /newsletter and subscribe. Remember, you don't have to pay. I ask you to do so if you can, but you don't have to. Okay? All right, Lynette, you got to leave. I'm sorry that you had to go early, but thank you for being here, Lynette. Let's see what else have we got here. I have another TikTok that I want to play for you that actually got to me as well. Bear with me a second. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. I'm finding it right now as we speak. Let's go ahead and go to this one. This is one that I really wanted to get out today. All right, let's go to it now.
J.D. Vance said, he called the court order absurd. So was the release of the federal funds a mistake? Like just yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance said, he called the court order absurd. Do we think that the release of the funds was a mistake, or is it a direct result of you guys going to court?
Well, let me answer both the J.D. Vance piece and the other piece. This is as a result of us continuing to push legally with the judge and the judge ruling that no longer would there be a partial payment, but the full payment. And the moment we got that ruling, Secretary Arkush went into action, pushed that button, and got the dollars flowing again, the federal dollars. And look, as for J.D. Vance, I got to say, look, I think America has a president, a vice president that don't give a damn about all Americans. They have made that crystal clear. And at least with Donald Trump, he's transparent about that. J.D. Vance is a total phony. And let me explain why. J.D. Vance rose to some prominence by writing a book about growing up in Appalachia, where there's a whole lot of people who get snapped. He made millions of dollars on the backs of telling their stories, and then he turned his damn back on those very people who he likes to write about. and claim as his own. Here's another thing J.D. Vance claims. He claims to be a person of faith. I know my Bible. And my Bible teaches us that we are to love thy neighbor. That's right. And we are to feed the hungry. That's right. Deuteronomy says, if you see a person who is in need, you don't give them a clenched fist, you open up your hand. So for J.D. Vance now to turn around after claiming all these things his whole life and literally go to court to stop hungry people from eating, that is not only phony, it is shameful. And this is who is leading America today. And folks got to wake up and realize the people who are leading in America quite literally want to keep people hungry. That's right. And you'll excuse me for getting emotional about it, but when I see hungry people in my state who are hungry because of J.D. Vance's bullshit politics, that makes me angry. And that's why I went to court. And that's why we're funding SHARE. And that's why we're putting dollars back on people's SNAP cards, because that's what the people of Pennsylvania deserve, and America deserves better than J.D. Vance.
Absolutely. I think, like I said, our younger politicians are doing much better at telling the story. Now, I want to go ahead and hit back here at our brother Lee the Bearcat. He says, why does this show bash churches? I don't bash churches. Churches just show who they are. We gave you the data. The woman called over 40 churches. The churches didn't come through. The Buddhist temples did. The mosques did. Should we not report that? And this was done all at random. Why are you asking why I am bashing a church? Why aren't you asking why are the churches not being who they should be, who Jesus says they should be? Why aren't you upset that you have a church, that you have churches, that it doesn't matter how much we reveal on Donald Trump's? Now it seems like he had things going on with young girls. We don't know for sure, but the circumstantial data seems to be there. And you guys still adore him, your Lord? Why aren't you upset of all the thievery he has done on people? Why aren't you upset that your church is following a person that has talked about grabbing women by their private parts? Why aren't you upset or ashamed that your church supports a person who stole money from charities? Again, it's not on me. It's on you. Why do you support that? My dear brother Patrick Magner, talk to me.
Hey, churches are businesses, and they have profit and loss sheets. And studies show that Christian churches operate in profit, and that little less than 1% to 2% is gifted or put towards community. What most of that goes towards is growing the size of the church so that they can entice more people into them and build a larger church. And it's just a money trap. And I survey a lot, and when I surveyed downtown, I was behind one of the really nice Catholic churches. Most of my family are Catholic. I've long since turned my back on that. But there were a bunch of homeless that were sleeping on the back entrance steps, and a Catholic priest came out, completely adorned, ready for mass, and he opens the door and he starts yelling, "Get the hell out of here! Get the hell out of here!" That was to homeless people.
Wow.
I have never really. I like churches in the fact that it's community for people, but they are not honest about what they do or how they act.
Exactly. You know, it is shameful. I've never, the Catholic Church is usually much more benevolent than that. That stuff about get the hell out of here from a priest, my God. That is shocking.
Yeah, they had nowhere else to go, and this guy just goes off on somebody because they have nowhere else to go and doesn't want to deal with them. I would argue that I'm probably more compassionate towards homeless people than that guy was.
Right.
But I wanted to comment towards Lee that if you don't expect better, then things will go into decline. That includes churches, but they're nothing but a business, and that's pretty much all I had to say.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Patrick, because I find so many people, ideology is a hard thing to crack, right? That is one of the reasons I never say I'm not trying to convert people to Democrats or progressives or whatever. I'm just trying to get them to vote their interests. Because that you can see all these things that the church is doing, and Lee the Bearcat still breaks down and says, church mandates are the problem. I mean, we talk about the church is antithetical to what Jesus stood for today. Antithetical completely to what Jesus stood for. And they think they have any morals? It's not about bashing the church, Lee. The church has done a darn good job of showing exactly who they are. And their God is not Jesus Christ. Their God is not the Holy Trinity. Their God is none of that. Their God is capitalism. And if you doubt it, listen to what Patrick just said. It's about profit and loss. It's running a church as a capitalist endeavor that continues to grow unabashedly. You just think about that. Think about that. Anything else, Patrick?
No, that's it. Y'all have a great day. It's getting towards 4 o'clock.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you being here. Anyway, folks, thank you all for being here. And look, the call from Ogden today still has, it still resonated in my head, and I really, really want to, Ogden to realize the impact that they've had on, on the host of this program. And I know deep inside that there are a lot of us out here that are going to stick with the program to make things better, and specifically to atone for what many of our generations have done to those of your generation and beyond. Anyway, I got to get out of here. So please, folks, for those who have the wherewithal to do so, we'd like you to invest in what we're doing, our work here, by becoming paid subscribers of our Substack. And it's inexpensive, folks. It's a coffee, less than a coffee. And I know if you guys would not mind having taken a Politics Done Right dude out for coffee. I know that. So please, if you have the wherewithal to do, please become paid subscribers today. Before you leave the chat, please just click on that subscribe, become a paid subscriber. That is how we are going to build systems. That is how we are going to get through this. Anyway, got to get out of here. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter to do that. You can write me directly at info@politicsdoneright.com. I love you all. And I mean all. Todos, toditos, todón. All of you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. You guys know how I end this, baby. I am what?
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.